It is the most coveted prize in the sport, bowling's U.S. Open. A grueling test of skill that can crush and spare misses it. Even the steeliest competitor. A challenge only the best of the best can ever conquer. Today, both men's and women's U.S. Open titles are on the line, as well as a final match between those two champions in a U.S. Open battle of the sexes. And it all starts now on ESPN. Columbus Western Bowl in Columbus, Ohio. This is the fourth major of the PBA season. Welcome to bowling's 2013 U.S. Open, presented by Lifton. Hi, everybody. I'm Lon McEwan. Welcome to the 70th edition of this prestigious event, along with PBA Hall of Famer Randy Peterson. We will have two Open titles decided tonight. It's a big show. The best in the game have brought their best game, including the men's #1 seed Jason Belmonte, who is making his 7th TV finals appearance of the last 8 majors.
And this is the 4th time he's going to bowl for a title, 4th consecutive major for Jason Belmonte. Jason was a beast at this year's Open, and it started with the very first game when he opened with 289, and he never looked back. Just total domination in this event. But in order for him to capture this title on, he just may have to go through the greatest player in U.S. Open history, and that's defending champion Pete Weber.
And Randy, we could have back-to-back Open titleists today, as the women's top seed Kelly Kulick has been defending her title, well, like a champion.
And Kelly said that this very demanding U.S. Open oil pattern played right into her wheelhouse. She could move in and use her power and rotation to play the deep inside part of the lane and get her ball to strike. Kelly knows a thing or two also about winning major championships. She's won the United States Open 2 out of the last 3 years.
Well, we will have simultaneous semifinal action, the men and women bowling on the lanes at the same time. That comes up in just a moment. But earlier today, we had quarterfinal action. Let's take a look at the highlights of the women's matchup between Diandra Asbaty and Danielle McEwan.
And this match was pretty much even halfway through until both players decided to leave pocket 7-10s. First one for Danielle, and then Diandra Asbaty follows it up in the 7th frame with her own pocket 7-10. Danielle was able to stay clean the rest of the match, getting nice breaks like this one right here, her last strike, to seal the deal, 192 to 171.
So Danielle advances and will now face #2 seed Liz Johnson, as the top seeded defending champion Kelly Kulick awaits that winner. On the men's side, 36-year-old Wiley veteran Wes Malott took on 20-year-old star in the making Marshall Kent.
Wes Malott got into some early trouble opening in the 3rd frame, came back nicely with a double in the 4th and 5th frame. Marshall Kent gets up and throws 3 beautiful shots here in the 10th, striking on all 3 to force Wes Malott to get up in the 10th frame and mark. He leaves a 10-pin, covers it with no problem, and Wes Malott advances.
So with his victory, Malott earned the right to meet the 50-year-old defending champion Pete Weber, with that winner taking on the formidable Jason Belmonte. So 4 lanes of action here in the semifinals. McEwan and Johnson on the left, Malott and Weber the 2 on the right. This will be busy and fun, Randy, after what has been a very rough week for these bowlers.
Yeah, it's what the U.S. Open is all about. 24 games of qualifying. They cut to the top 25% of the field, 6 more games, and then they cut to the top 24 for match play, 54 games in all. It's not only a physical grind, but it's a mental grind.
Liz Johnson will open us up, 39 years old, from Cheektowaga, New York. 2 U.S. Open titles already on her resume. We will alternate between the men and women each shot. And Liz Johnson opens big.
One at a time.
Liz Johnson played the lanes totally unconventionally this week, but she played to her strengths. And her strength is throwing it straight and hard with the grain of the wood.
The big Texan now, Wes Malott, injured, had surgery on that knee, and he's hurting right now.
Take a look at it for the first time here since his surgery.
Malott opens with a split. That is disheartening.
Because they got to stay up or stay down.
kid on the end.
So back to the women now. Danielle McEwan, an amateur, just 21 years old, has worked her way through this field of 111 women with a chance at this title. From Stony Point, New York. Came in as the 4th seed. And she goes Brooklyn, and we've seen a lot of that this week.
Yeah, that's the bonus on a U.S. Open oil pattern. If you miss target to the inside part of the lane, you hope you miss just enough for the ball to cross over and go Brooklyn.
So now Malott with some work to do. But he's facing an open frame here in number 1. So Wes Malott with a 9 count in the first frame, not what he wanted. McEwan now in her 2nd frame. She got part of the kick.
And she was able to do what Wes wasn't. That's the trip out the split.
Pete Weber now, the defending U.S. Open champion. The number 2 seed. He's got the crowd behind him. He's got 10 in the pit. McEwan cleaning up for the women. And she goes strike spare. Pete Weber looking to go back-to-back twice. Back-to-back U.S. Open titles and back-to-back majors. He won our last major, the TOC. Crosses over and chuckles at his misfortune.
And there you see the unforgiving ways of the flat 1-to-1 ratio of this United States Open oil pattern. You can't miss in and have the ball lay there.
There's Johnson now.
Talked to a lot of the players, Lon. They said, you know, if you did miss and you got 9, that was like almost getting a strike.
Pete's ready right away to clean up. And he does.
I mean, it was so easy to throw open frames. It didn't take a whole lot to miss target left or right and have a big split staring at you.
And there's Johnson. Covers in the 2nd frame. And they are even through 2. Now Wes Malott. I saw him open up in the 1st.
Knee surgery back in April. Take a look at the lack of knee bend in this shot right here from Wes Malott.
Quickly off the bend. Can he get it? He got it!
Very straight-legged on that shot. Nice break there, getting the messenger into the 10. And I talked to Wes earlier. He said all the games are starting to catch up with him. The knee is very, very sore.
Liz, the first woman to make a televised final. She bowled simultaneous action, men and women, during her first U.S. Open title back in '96, and Pete Weber was on that show.
She also was the first woman to bowl on a men's, or to make a men's telecast. She actually beat Wes Malott before losing to eventual champion Tommy Jones.
I know Wes Malott remembers that, but he's not thinking about that right now.
Not even a little?
Not even a little.
Okay.
He beat Weber earlier in match play. He has lost to Weber in the only matchup on television between the two. Boy, a mugging of that 7-pin gets him to strike. And Wes gingerly goes back and sits down. Johnson bringing up the 6-10.
It's amazing the difference in power. You see how much more the men open up this oil pattern versus the women, and that's just because of ball speed and revolutions.
Weber working a spare.
Petey just not giving that shot enough room to the right. And it's very easy to understand, because too much room to the right, you'll actually flag the head pin and smash the 3-6 or the 6-10 in the face.
Just when you think you have this pattern figured out. Danielle McEwan now.
Make no mistake about it. You don't figure out this pattern. Well, let me rephrase that. You figure it out early. It's hard.
But you just know it's tough to beat. And Pete said all his goal this week is to fill the frames. Leave yourself something to make on the second ball.
I asked Pete if this U.S. Open was tougher than last year's. He said, oh, by far.
McEwan cleaning up the 10-pin. And we have a couple of good matches going here in the semifinals of this 2013 U.S. Open presented by Lipton.
Weber said the last 8 games of match play last night, the lanes were totally unplayable.
Stop moving.
Remember that from last year?
Yep, that's part of what fired him up to win that fifth U.S. Open title.
You would think the fans here saw that as well.
I wonder if it's the same person.
It started. Did they make the trip? I mean, it started with a fan moving, and it turned into who do you think you are? I am. So
maybe Pete bought him a ticket.
Hey, listen, that's what fired him up at last year's U.S. Open.
Weber working spare. 10-pin.
He only trails by 1 if he covers it. Malott had an open early.
Pete likes to work quickly. He's going to have to wait for McEwan here. Danielle, strike, and 2 spares. 10-pin again.
Real straight, real up the back for Danielle. She doesn't cover a lot of boards, but that rotation's pretty end over end.
Pete Weber cleans up his 10-pin. Talked to Liz Johnson last night. You mentioned straight is great, and it seems like it's the way to go for the women who are here.
Well, Liz Johnson played a part of the lane that nobody else could, and Danielle's actually left of that.
All right, Danielle cleans up, and so our action underway in the semifinal of the 2013 U.S. Open. Back with more simultaneous side-by-side action coming your way from Columbus. Bowling's U.S. Open is brought to you by Brunswick. Find your next ball at bowlwithbrunswick.com. By Jana King, the king of clean. By Ebonite, bowl it forward. And by GoBowling.com. Visit GoBowling.com today. Welcome back to Columbus semifinal action of the 2013 U.S. Open men's and women's action. We recap. Wes Malott doubled while we were gone, making it a 4-bagger. Pete Weber stepped up and threw a 4-6-7 split, and he opened up in his 5th. And Johnson came up with a double. Liz Johnson with the strike and 9, I'm sorry, and now it is McEwan on the lane in an even match. 21-year-old amateur. She's getting some late mixing action, Randy.
She's got to get her ball to get into the 1-3 pretty flush in order for it to strike. You saw that was just a little light, but there's just not enough angle created because of her end-over-end rotation to get all 10 to go down.
Weber down by 35.
Fuck you.
Weber's got the flat 10 syndrome going on the left lane, and the right lane he went through the nose and opened. Wes Malott in command of that match.
Malott looking for his first major title. McEwan, first TV appearance with the spare, down by 1. Pete quickly back to clean up.
Went with a little more ball speed that time on that left lane to keep it on line, and the result was not what you're hoping for, especially if you're a right-hander trying to get your ball to strike. Flat 10s are kind of degrading.
McEwan up again. She and Johnson battling for the right to beat Kelly Kulick.
Another nice break going through the nose, not splitting.
Now Wes Malott will take over. And Malott just needs to remain steady. Here's how he got here. A great match play record.
So key to win matches at the U.S. Open because it's hard to bowl big games, and the 30 bonus pins for winning your match plays huge after 24 games of match play.
Big West with a big strike as he continues to keep the gas pedal down.
And both Wes Malott and Pete Weber are using the same bowling ball, but Wes Malott's making his look a lot better than Weber's right now.
5-bagger for Malott. McEwan down by 2 with the spare in the 6th. And we heard it time and time again this week, Randy, is make your spares. That is the key all week long. Malott, though, one-upping Weber here with strike after strike after strike.
Well, the only person who didn't have to make a lot of spares this week was Belmonte because he was the only guy that could throw 10-baggers. Remember, Wes Malott finished second to Pete Weber in 2007 at the U.S. Open.
Belmo awaiting the winner of this match, 6 in a row for Malott.
Malott looking for a little payback, maybe?
Wes Malott would love to get his first major against the man that defeated him at the Masters. Jason Belmonte. Now Liz Johnson up by 2. That's a good ball from Liz Johnson.
She's got a nice look on that right lane. She left the flat 10 on the left lane. Otherwise, it would have been 3 in a row for Liz Johnson.
Weber beat Belmonte in the position round. Belmonte didn't have a great match play record, but he was so far ahead it really didn't matter. There's the ball Pete Weber has been looking for 7 frames.
It's so much riding on the line for Pete. He was looking to win his 6th U.S. Open, his 11th major, surpassing Earl Anthony. It would have been his 38th win, passing Norm Duke. He would have had 3rd. All wrapped up to himself, going back-to-back U.S. Opens, possible Player of the Year award. He needs to strike out to have a chance.
Johnson comes through big time. And Johnson on a roll, up by 12 with her double there.
Weber down by 55, has to strike out. Possible 224 if he takes it off the sheet.
Nope, that's not going to do it.
Sure.
Pete is baffled now.
Bad ball reaction for Weber on the left lane. Couldn't get the 10 out when he did hit the pocket. That one never made the turn, and he leaves half a loaf.
And now this amateur with a chance to upend one of the most preeminent pro women's bowlers, Liz Johnson. Weber with a nice spare with some anger to it. He went down by 2.
If she strikes, she'll be down by 2.
Down by 12 right now. Her home center is High Tour Lanes, West Overstray, New York. Good ball, and she gets that kick on the 10 there.
Well, she answered the call after Liz Johnson's double.
Qualifying averages, there is a lot of amateurs in the field on both sides, and you see the average for the pros much, much better, and then Belmonte way above everyone else. Wes Malott on his way to a finals match against Jason Belmonte.
Wes Malott making the oil pattern look easy. Pete Weber making the oil pattern look like what everybody else had this week.
Malott bringing his best game just in the nick of time.
Liz Johnson said this was the toughest U.S. Open she's ever bowled in.
Working on a double. Johnson.
Look out.
Slight lead. Can it stay? Yes, it can.
Well, she got that delay off right there, and that's the 3-bagger that couldn't come at a better time for Liz Johnson.
Now Malott working on 7 in a row.
Wes Malott's pretty deep right now. 4th arrow.
8 straight for Malott. as he just now tries to figure out the exact spot he wants to be as he moves forward. And it looks like he has found that spot.
And don't waste it. Save some of that for Jason Belmonte. He'll need it.
Indeed. Wes by 12.
Wes Malott looking for his first ever major title.
Johnson has her hands full, and she is up to the task.
2 big shots right there for Liz Johnson when Danielle McEwan pulled even. Weber just trying to get out of the way now. This match is over. And just a slaughter, if you will. Wes Malott all over Pete Weber like a bulldog on a pork chop.
McEwan now working on a double of her own here in the 9th, and that's a little high.
Now the lead for Johnson, 24 with a frame to go.
That was a key miss by Johnson as Pete Weber, as you mentioned, just cleans up, trying to get out of the way.
Very unusual ball reaction on that left lane for Pete. His ball's actually rolling out. For a guy that's got as much axis rotation as Pete has, you rarely see his ball do that in the back part of the lane.
McEwan now knows she needs some help from Liz Johnson. And no matter the situation, up by 30, down by 75, the fans love to see Pete Weber perform. And certainly he wishes he could have performed better for them.
Well, no matter what Danielle does here in the 10th frame, she can't shut out Liz Johnson.
That's a good ball.
Yeah, it is. Great shot.
And Pete
didn't want to see his ball roll out again, so he just threw it straight down the middle of the lane.
Indeed.
Very disappointed. Know how disappointed Pete is after they were done last night. Boy, you could really see the fatigue in Jason Belmonte and Pete Weber. Pete looked absolutely worn out. But what was interesting was we asked him how he felt, and Pete said, well, if I had to, I could bowl another 8 games.
And Jason said, I couldn't throw another shot.
Jason said I couldn't throw another shot.
Like Tracy in the background has meant so much to Pete and his bowling career, aside from certainly the wonderful family they have built. McEwan here needs to put as much heat as possible on Johnson. That's not the way to do it.
And that match is over as well.
So we'll be having a rematch. Liz Johnson and Kelly Kulick. A rematch of the championship match at the 2010 U.S. Open. Wes Malott with a rematch of big proportions against Jason Belmonte. And what a performance by Wes Malott. And what a performance all week long by the 21-year-old amateur Danielle McEwan, the number 4 seed from Stony Point, New York. We have not seen the last of her. She impressed a lot of people this week.
It'll be interesting to see if Wes Malott's shot will hold up under the ground and pound of Jason Belmonte's high rev bowling ball going down the lane.
Well, Wes Malott recovered from that open frame in the first, didn't he?
Just a little. Came back with a nice 10-bagger. Or as a friend of mine once said, he calls that the perfect 10, the Bo Derek.
Bo Derek.
Yeah.
Liz Johnson will be back on the lanes in short order. She'll take on Kelly Kulick. The Women's U.S. Open Championship will bowl first. Just them on the lanes, and then the men, and then the 2 winners in the Battle of the Sexes to close out our live show here from Columbus. Can he get it? Yes, he can. A smile on strikes a lot. Wes Malott living up to his nickname here.
Liz Johnson, a very solid 220 game, kept the ball in play the entire game, made every spare, and caught that late 4-bagger.
Liz Johnson and Kelly Kulick have been 1 and 2 all week long at the U.S. Open, and they will battle for the title. Closing out with a strike, Liz Johnson defeating Danielle McEwan. And it will be Liz Johnson and Kelly Kulick next. Wes Malott comes through with a big 279. Both of those pros battling for a title in their respective divisions. Come on back. Welcome back to Columbus. We take a look at last year's Women's U.S. Open. Kelly Kulick in Reno outside, Randy.
Yeah, the lanes got a little tough, and Kelly went to plastic and just tried to keep the ball on line, and she did a tremendous job of that.
Missy Parkin giving it her best in difficult conditions.
It was a close match, but Kelly Kulick did what she had to do and came away with another Women's U.S. Open title.
She'll be bowling to defend her title in just a moment. There is Kelly Kulick on the approach. She'll be taking on Liz Johnson once again for this title. The WNBA All-Star Game returns to ABC today, where Candace Parker and top stars from across the league will light up the scoreboard live from Mohegan Sun Arena in Connecticut. The Boost Mobile WNBA All-Star Game today at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific on ABC. For today's Geico Championship recap, we're going to take a look at an event conducted earlier this week in conjunction with bowling's 2013 U.S. Open. For the second consecutive year, the BPAA contested bowling's Senior Women's U.S. Open presented by Storm. The event took place at Sequoia Pro Bowl here in Columbus. In match one, number 3 seed Tish Johnson left a solid 9-pin in the 10th frame to give the 4th seed Christy Witcher a chance. Needing a double in the 10th to win, Witcher got only 8, and Johnson prevailed 178 to 147. Match 2 was a different story, as Johnson was unable to keep the momentum going. Strikes in the 8th and 9th by number 2 seed Paula Vidad sealed her 238-177 win and sent her on to the final match. The title match was a close one. Tournament leader Lucy Sandelin strung together 4 consecutive strikes in frames 5 through 8 to take a 1-pin lead into the 9th frame. But Vidad was up to the challenge, throwing a strike in the 9th and all 3 in the 10th to claim the title 234 to 215. The win was the first major championship of Vidad's career and earned her the spoils of victory, the champion's jacket, trophy, and first place check. So here's a look now at our current standings. Liz Johnson, the number 2 seed, moved past Danielle McEwan, 227-202, now taking on the defending champion and top seed Kelly Kulick in a rematch of 2010.
And I just got to congratulate Paula Vidad on that win. I used to bowl juniors with Paula when I was like 14 years old. So I've known Paula for a long time, and she's just a great lady, and great to see her come away with that win.
Top seed Kelly Kulick, 36 years old, 8 combined PWBA and PBA titles, 6 majors from Union, New Jersey. Opening up with a strike. This women's final presented by Ebonite as we take a look at this matchup. 36 years old, Kulick 39 for Johnson. And to see their titles, they have dominated the women's side, and a lot of majors between them. Of course, Kelly won the men's Tournament of Champions a few years back. Johnson, can she answer? Yes, she can.
Take a look at this U.S. Open hole pattern, 38 feet in length, and the ratio is 1-to-1, which means it's completely flat all the way across the lane. Liz Johnson is playing this very straight and direct line, and Kelly Kulick is playing the deep inside line. Both players playing to their strengths. This is each player's A game.
Both have opened with a strike. Men's finale coming up after this match. Wes Malott, Jason Belmonte.
Liz,
big pocket.
She's got a little roll-up spot down to the outside part there. And I mean, when I say a little, she's got a board right of target where the ball, if she throws it properly, will actually start to read the oil pattern a bit.
Kelly loves a challenge. Liz Johnson always brings that challenge. The fans very appreciative of both the men and women all week long on these very difficult conditions. 3 bowling centers used. The players were jumping around between lanes and centers all week long, and now here we are on 4 TV lanes.
No.
Oh, boy.
Boy, we saw that in the first match when Danielle and Diandra Asbaty both left pocket 7-10s on this pair at 9 and 10. This is the last thing you want to see if you're Kelly Kulick. Open frames, hard to come back from except if you're Wes Malott. Remember, he opened the last match and then struck out.
All right, so Kelly will be satisfied, or at least will have to settle for taking down the 7-pin.
Not used to seeing Kelly in a dress. You could tell just the kind of shape she's in. Both her and Liz, workout junkies. They take very good care of themselves. These are 2 of the heavy hitters on the women's side. You ask both players, hey, what did you think of this tournament? They said, we loved it. We loved the grind, all of the games. That's what we do. We bowl.
This format works well for both. It does separate them usually from the rest of the field, and a nice answer for Kelly Kulick after the open. Liz Johnson now likes the situations, as you mentioned, Randy, likes the low-scoring situations, because that means it's tough, and she rises to the top when it's tough. She rarely is home more than a week at a time during the year. She's always finding some place to bowl. She has a passion for this game that just exudes every time you talk to her.
But you know, you saying that Liz Johnson loves a grind and she loves the tough stuff is kind of like saying I like pizza. I mean, anytime you see a player that throws it straight, they're going to want the grind out. They're not going to want the shootout. Put her on something that's really ugly and really tough, and that's Liz Johnson's wheelhouse. Just so happens to be Kelly's as well, because Kelly, even though she likes to hook it, she prides herself on being a shot maker, which she is.
Johnson with a front 3 to open up this championship match, the 2013 women's final, presented by Ebonite. 4 in a row for Liz Johnson as she is running through the door that the opening was created by Kelly Kulick with the open frame. So Kulick trying to defend her title. Liz Johnson trying to win her 3rd. This week on Sunday Night Baseball at 8, Carlos Beltran and the Cardinals take on Freddie Freeman and the Braves. Then on Monday Night Baseball, AL West rivals square off at 7 as Mike Trout and the Angels face Adrian Beltre and the Rangers. Both games on ESPN, also live on Watch ESPN.
A little firepower out of those 2.
No kidding, a lot of firepower on our lanes right now. Kelly Kulick down by 42 early to Liz Johnson, who was opened with the front 4. Kulick opened up in frame 2.
Yeah, and it was an ugly open because of a pocket 7-10.
Kelly cannot afford to fall back any further. That was beautiful the whole way. We talked to Kelly Kulick with so many factors involved this week. What was her key to victory this week?
Repeat shots. The condition was so demanding all week long in all 3 of the centers. It's just finding the right ball in my bag that's going to allow me to get from point A to point B, repeat shots, and hit the pocket. If you can get 9 on this and spare, chances are you're going to come out on top and catch a double and triple every now and then.
And right now, she would have loved to have had 9 spare in the 2nd frame. Both players living in the pocket through 4 frames. The big difference, the pocket 7-10 for Kulick in the 2nd. What a great shot.
Has found her way. She recovered from that open very well.
And like I said earlier, I mean, this is two of the best women players on the planet going at it. And right now it looks like Liz Johnson has created a little shim and a little roll-up spot in the area or the part of the lane that she's playing. She looks like she has a little bit of left and right, something that she created with all of the practice shots in the last game that she bowled.
Very good match play record. 30-pin bonus for each victory in match play because she came in feeling very sharp this week, and she goes Brooklyn, and yeah, she'll look down but take it.
Well, you notice how she didn't slap that one off or try to rub it in Kelly's face. Nobody likes to do this against their opponent, but this is part of the U.S. Open, and she does get the nice break, a trip in the sixth there, pulled it just far enough left to get the crossover.
Front five. Liz Johnson perfect so far. At the most critical moment. Championship match of the Women's U.S. Open presented by Ebonite. Oh, and she got that kick again on the 10.
Great shot there. Comes back after the Brooklyn and kicks the 10 out for a six-bagger. Right now, everything going right for Liz Johnson. Kelly Kulick just needs to keep striking to keep the pressure on and keep Liz Johnson honest.
It's been over 30 years since a woman repeated as U.S. Open champion. Kelly said that was her goal this week. She too came in with a great match play record.
Push.
Back half of qualifying.
I mean, that was in just a pinch, and no trip four break for Kelly. Right now, all the mo in the Liz Johnson camp.
And there's really not much that Kelly can do at this point. The way Johnson has opened up. One ball at a time, down by 43 right now. Top seed Kelly Kulick.
You look at the two styles of these players. One of the common denominators is both players have great balance at the foul line. They get their legs underneath them, and that's part of the strengths of their games.
Kelly Kulick said that she just has to trust in her arm swing.
There you go. Just to reiterate what I was saying, watch the great balance at the foul line. Liz Johnson, great knee bend. Okay, maybe not as balanced on that one because that was the Brooklyn shot, but there's the great balance we're talking about. Look at that. Kelly posts that shot.
Kulick with a strike, open, a triple, and then a spare. And now with another strike. To pump herself up and remain consistent the rest of the way. She knows the odds Johnson throws perfect from this point out are very long. So Kelly has to put as much heat on as possible. But who knows?
Liz Johnson's in the 240s right now. Kelly Kulick can strike out for 247. Both players making a extremely difficult oil pattern look easy from two completely different angles.
Not a good throw.
3-6-10.
So after such a great start, the front six, Johnson now with her first opportunity to convert the spare.
And think about the averages of these two players. Overall, Liz Johnson averaged only 208 for the 54 games. Kelly Kulick averaged 212. That includes match play and qualifying.
And you take a look through the years, and Kelly Kulick is looking for her fourth. Liz Johnson, her third. A long way to go to reach that top spot.
Yeah, Marion Ladowig kind of has a stranglehold on the most U.S. Open / BPA All-Stars with 8.
Of course, these two had a few years where the Women's U.S. Open not held, so they have some ground to make up. And one of them will up their total here as Liz Johnson gets back into the strike zone.
Well, she's kind of been iffy on the right lane. The good news is she gets the finish on the left lane in the 10th frame. But right now, if Liz Johnson goes spare, strike, spare, she shoots 247. Kulick needs to strike out to shoot 247.
Kulick held the lead for most of the week. When she gave it up to Liz Johnson. And now she needs to work her best game to keep Liz Johnson from taking this title.
3-6.
Cut around it. Damn it.
So the first bad shot she's thrown, the ball was left out of her hand. No chance of it pushing right and holding pocket. Her chances now running out as she's running out of frames. Inside a target, and there's no buildup of oil to hold that ball on line.
She said when she gets desperate or tired, or she starts getting a little too handsy, trying to work the ball a little too much, instead of letting the characteristics of the ball do its thing. Another open frame, and Kelly Kulick does not appear to be a repeat champion.
And that's just a concentration lapse. I mean, Kelly Kulick doesn't miss spares, neither does Liz Johnson. And that's just 5 days of brutal pressure and competition, all kind of boiling over for Kelly Kulick as she feels her chances and sees her chances of repeating slipping away.
9th frame for Kulick.
Liz Johnson is going to win the United States Open for the second time. Excuse me, for a third time.
And Liz Johnson knows that fact. She has to keep her composure right now, finish off strong. But Johnson has gone through the best. Kelly Kulick maybe didn't bring her best game to this finale. But that's what happens under championship conditions. And Johnson has prevailed. She has handled the pressure, handled the lanes, handled the conditions all week, right up to the end, better than Kelly Kulick. And Kelly Kulick will hand over the U.S. Open title to Liz Johnson. It's been 6 years since Liz won her last U.S. Open.
And a tough day for Kelly. She led this tournament by over 200 pins. But Liz Johnson, that six-bagger to start this game, just won her third U.S. Open title.
And the fans have been alerted to that fact, and Liz Johnson fighting back the emotion of this moment, knowing she has to finish like the brand new champion that she is. And she does indeed reward them and reward herself.
She's going to go back to Western New York and have a big party. So well deserved. She's such a classy person and just a great player.
A tremendous ambassador for the sport, both of these women. But when you sit down and talk to Liz Johnson, she just is the sport of bowling. She brings her best. She brings the best to every interview. And maybe that's a nod to her sportsmanship here. And her ambassadorship. Yeah, we'll give you that strike. Let the 8-pin fall. And of course, she will meet the men's winner in the upcoming Battle of the Sexes, which comes after the men's title. And another fortunate strike for Liz Johnson, the winner of the 2013 Women's U.S. Open. Too little, too late. For Kulick.
Number one. Mom, Dad, I love you.
What a great moment for Liz Johnson.
Thank you, guys. I love you. Everyone back home, I love you guys. Storm, Vice Grips, thank you so much for everything.
She has just won $50,000 as the champion, and perhaps 10,000 more if she beats the men's champion later today.
Well, and she's got experience bowling against the men. Remember some years ago when she took down Wes Malott.
Pick it up. Yeah, baby.
Beautiful trophy.
Johnson was the best all week long. Defeats the defending champion Kelly Kulick.
Here, baby.
What a performance. 257, 195. The men's championship match when we come back. Bowling's U.S. Open is brought to you by Storm. Bowlers serving bowlers. Storm is the bowlers company. By DV8. We are DV8. Tonight, we bowl. By Columbia 300. Grab some friends and let's bowl. And by Lipton Iced Tea. Feel the taste of summer. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series returns to ESPN as Jimmy Johnson, Carl Edwards, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. lead the field at the historic Brickyard. NASCAR's best will fight to cement their place in the chase. 43 drivers, 12 spots, just one champion. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Brickyard, presented by Golden Corral. Coverage begins next Sunday at noon on ESPN. Also live on Watch ESPN. Kelly Kulick is the Women's U.S. Open champion. Open with the front six and the back three. Pardon me, Liz Johnson is the 2013 U.S. Open champion. And right now, she is showing us her form that brought her third title.
Thank you.
A very well-deserved champion, and right now Randy Peterson is with Liz.
Thanks, Lon. Liz Johnson, now a three-time United States Open champ. Liz, you're getting a chance to see some of the action there in the video. Another $50,000. Can you describe what this feels like?
This is just an amazing feeling. It just feels awesome to be back in the winners block again, to win another U.S. Open. It's my body's just numb right now.
Describe just how tough this event is. You know, we've talked about it throughout the telecast, but why don't you try to sum up for the viewers just how brutal and how tough it is to win a United States Open?
It's unbelievable to win the U.S. Open, but this week was just unbelievable. Tough, very tough conditions. As low, tough conditions I've ever seen at an Open or any event, and it was just making shots and really filling frames, because you're winning matches with 170s, 180s, and really picking up ground with 200 plus. So I'm just super happy to be on top this week.
Yeah, but in the title match, you shot over 240. Now, do you have one more game left in you?
I can throw another game.
All right, which one of the guys do you want? I'm
not picking either or. I'm on top for the Women's Open, so just to be a part of that, it's a historical event as it is. So.
All right, Liz, congratulations. We'll see you in a game or so.
Thanks a lot, Randy.
Liz Johnson, our champion, will stick around because she does have one more game to bowl in the battle of the sexes. She will take on either Wes Malott or Jason Belmonte. Right now, they're warming up for the men's title match presented by Storm. Belmo looking for his second, Malott his first major.
Bowling fans, we got a 2-minute break here on ESPN, so if you're not already standing, shake those legs out. We got two big matches coming up. First, our men's Lipton Bowling's U.S. Open title match with Jason Belmonte and Wes Malott. Women's champion Liz Johnson is waiting for the winner in the battle of the sexes coming up right after this.
Back in Columbus, our defending champion is gone, but here's how Pete Weber won his historic 5th last year in the finale. After working his way through qualifying, he defeated Mike Fagan with a big strike with his last ball.
Who do you think you are? I am.
Greatest U.S. Open I ever called.
Well, Pete Weber didn't bring his best to his match tonight, defeated by Wes Malott. Now time for the men's title match presented by Storm. Malott with a whitewashing of Weber, 279-182. And now a rematch of this year's USBC Masters major title between Malott and Jason Belmonte when Jason broke through to win his first major. Malott trying to do that here today. Wes Malott will start. And we talked about the knee surgery he had recently. He told us he was in pain, but if he can bowl like he did against PDW in pain, look out Jason Belmonte.
Yeah, right now he's not feeling anything except trying to get through one more game and capture his first ever major.
Malott with an open frame in his first against Pete Weber, and then he struck out. But he opens here with a strike to send a message to Belmo. And you see the tail of the tape presented by Storm. Malott, the elder of the two, both with 7 titles, with 1 major for Belmo. Both with 6 wins when they're in the title match. Two-handed wonder from down under who has dominated the U.S. Open from the very first ball he threw nearly a week ago. That is an ugly opening for Belmo.
Jason is so far left right now. Watch this ball. It's going to double dribble. And that takes a little bit of the sting or the hook potential off of that bowling ball.
Going for it all.
Come on.
So just the way Wes Malott, or similar fashion the way Wes Malott opened his match against Pete Weber. And now can Belmo strike out from here as Malott did? He is capable. 29-year-old. His birthday coming in a couple of days. The big 3-0 for Jason. 5th year on tour. He says he still feels like a newbie though. That one didn't come back either. Wash out.
1-2-6-10 wash out.
Wow. Talk about the start you don't envision laying in your hotel room the night before. This is just absolutely ugly. This ball's going down the lane at about 20 miles an hour, 21 miles an hour, and just never turns over down the lane.
It's close.
He got him.
That's a great shot, man. You don't want to go back-to-back open frames in the title match of the United States Open, especially after a guy like Wes Malott just proved that he can strike, shooting 279 the game before against Weber.
What a key shot for Belmo early in this championship match. And now Malott, who pays no attention to his opponent if at all possible. He looks down, doesn't try to listen, doesn't try to watch the roll of the ball. Just do his own thing. Take care of business. Business will take care of you.
Take a look and see how the men are playing the same oil pattern we just saw the women bowl on. Wes Malott is in here kind of going right around that 4th arrow, but Belmonte is literally in here throwing it over the gutter cap just a little bit and trying to get his ball to peel back from the extreme deep inside part of the lane. This is how the players attack this oil pattern all week long at 3 different centers. The same oil pattern. They competed at Wayne Webb's Columbus Bowl, Western Bowl, which we're at now, and Holiday.
Front 2 from Malott.
Oh,
he almost got it.
Boy, if he rolls to the 2 in that situation, you might as well just hand him the trophy, because that's when you know things are going your way, and that's always a good thing.
Wes's last singles title came in '09 when he lost to Belmo at the USBC Masters. High scoring affair, 258, 245. You have to fill frames, and Malott has done that. Now Jason Belmonte try to scratch and claw his way back into this match. They're opening up some unfortunate rolls in the first 2. A great spare in a second.
Well, he's only down by 22 if he converts this, and we're only through 3 frames, so it's not desperation time yet, especially with the amount of strikes that Jason Belmonte can throw. As you see, that ball double dribbled once again, but it looked like he took a little bit of the speed off of it to get his ball to read a little bit sooner.
Belmo with the spare.
Last night, long talking with Jason about what it's like to get to this point in the United States Open. He said, well, he says 3 things for me. My physical game is the best it's ever been. My mental game is the sharpest it's ever been. And he said, and my equipment, my bowling balls are phenomenal. But the trick was to loft the ball, set it down early, change, move, change equipment, all of the adjustments, all the micromanaging from game to game, not just block to block or center to center. And so that's why these players are exhausted at the end of this competition at the United States Open.
It's not just walk and roll. It is an equation every time, and Belmo still trying to solve this very difficult equation.
It's time to stop doing that.
Ball's going too long down the lane before it's starting to hook.
So what can he do to stop doing that, Randy?
He could go to a stronger piece of equipment. He could try to get a little bit softer with his speed. Remember that with Jason Belmonte, because of his extremely high rev rate, probably the highest rev rate on tour, his adjustments are extremely critical.
Wes Malott in control of this finale right now as he tries to take down Jason Belmonte here at the U.S. Open in Columbus. Welcome back. The WNBA All-Star Game returns to ABC Saturday, where Candace Parker and all the top stars from across the league will light up the scoreboard live from Mohegan Sun Arena in Connecticut. The Boost Mobile WNBA All-Star Game today at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific on ABC.
Is Brittany Griner going to play? Last time I heard, she was hurt.
I think that's the word, that she may not. I've not heard an update. Update, though. Wes Malott looking for his first major, up by 36 on Jason Belmonte, the top seed. Belmo having trouble right now, Randy.
Can't find the pocket. And hasn't thrown a strike yet.
Wes Malott opened with a front 2 and a spare, and now a strike here in the 4th. And these two, as I mentioned, have met before. It was February of this year. Belmonte against Wes Malott both had a shot at their first major at the Masters.
Belmonte just throwing pins around like they're rag dolls.
Wes Malott was matching him shot for shot.
Wes needed a couple hits in the 10th, got the first one, and then went through the nose. Second ball in the 10th frame to give Belmonte the title.
Well, a big breakthrough moment for Belmo in that Masters. And now Wes Malott faced with that similar breakthrough moment, looking for his first major win.
Both players look like they're wearing the same jerseys they wore that day as well. And for those historians that are watching, yes, Wes Malott did bowl an Andy Verapapa 300 game. So that would be the Last 11 in the first game, and then he started with the next 2.
Malott is right on target here in this championship finale. And his son Jordan on the sidelines. Wes been carting him around for the last couple of days, and Wes has had more of a smile on his face than we've seen in a lot of events. Despite the pain in the knee, he seems to be enjoying the moment a little more.
Well, he's got a 46-pin lead trying to win his first major. I think that helps a bit.
Absolutely. Belmonte trying to get back in the match.
4-6-7.
Jason.
Oh, one of those days.
Second's going to have to wait.
Boy, we didn't see a whole lot of this from Jason Belmonte this week. This is a disaster. Talk about gift wrapping the U.S. Open for your opponent. Jason is doing just that. His ball reaction either goes too long when he gets it to the right, and as soon as he squares up or gets a little soft, it goes right through the nose. And with that much power and that much ball speed going through the nose, there's a pretty good chance he's going to leave an ugly design, just like he did right there when he left the big 4. He's switching balls now, and this is all or nothing. To have any chance to win this title, he has to strike out.
You can see the shock on Belmonte's face, what he is suffering through right now. Will the ball change make a difference? Yes, it does. But is it too late?
Nice shot.
Well, Wes Malott's going to tell you right now here in the 6th and 7th frame, because the best Belmonte can shoot is 212. Wes Malott's already into the high teens, or excuse me, the high 2 teens. If he throws a strike here in the 6th and 7th, he'll be in the 230s. Wes Malott's first major is within reach.
Malott working on a double. Make that a triple.
Doing exactly what he needs to do, and that's to keep the pressure on. Don't give Jason Belmonte any hope. Keep filling frames. Strikes are the best way to do it. Just a beautiful shot. That unique release of Wes Malott's, where he can snap that wrist around the side of the bowling ball.
Malott can taste it, but he has to stay within himself. Keep doing what he's been doing well.
Oh, not what you want to see. Again, that gives Jason Belmonte a little bit of light, even though the lead is as big as it is. Wes Malott just wants to fill frames. Remember that last strike that he threw on the right lane, got him in the 220s. All he needed to do was stay clean the rest of the game, and no matter what Belmonte did, the title was his. Unless he slides the 4 into the 9, Belmonte still has a little bit of a chance.
Open for Malott in the 7th. Jason, the ball change in the last frame.
Sorry, come on.
It better strike and work. It better work on this right lane, Lon, or Wes Malott's going to win his first ever major.
Jason has to conjure the confidence that he had all week long. I heard something that halted his progress.
It wasn't me talking. You were talking.
Not loudly.
But it wasn't you either.
Belmonte needs this strike here in the 7th. That was his best roll of the match.
Well, he's a little farther right with that bowling ball, and you can see just how much smoother that reaction is. It picks up a little bit sooner down the lane. Enters the pocket beautifully. When his ball hits the pocket, I believe he's got the highest carry percentage on tour.
So Wes Malott gave him a small opening. But now Belmo has to do his job to take full advantage. It's a long way to go and not a lot of time to get there.
Terrible shot, Jason.
Yep, he got it left immediately.
Terrible. Hit up on that one.
Yep, left and inside
Can't
of
do
target
that, yep.
immediately. His chances are all but over now. Wes Malott just needs to fill frames, stay behind the foul line. You can see that ball never gets to the right. It was left to target, and right through the nose, leaving the 3-6-10.
And that is the death knell for Belmonte. Now Wes Malott, as you mentioned, Randy, fill frames, stay behind the foul line, try to contain your emotions. A moment you have worked for your entire life. A 36-year-old, 7 titles, hoping his 8th is the U.S. Open.
6-10.
It's okay. 6-10's a lot easier to shoot than the 3-6-10. Jason just showed us that. But Wes Malott, not a real emotional guy, but he is coming off of torn meniscus knee surgery that he had in April. And anytime an athlete goes through that, there's a lot of question marks that are associated with that type of injury and that type of surgery. You know, will he ever come back? I had 3 knee surgeries. I know exactly what Wes Malott has gone through. And to get back to this point and be in position and just a couple of frames away from winning your first ever major, you may see some emotion out of the big guy.
3 times he's been runner-up in majors, to Belmo this year in the Masters, the 09 World Championship to Tom Smallwood, and the 07 U.S. Open to Pete Weber. And now it looks like no one will be the one he finishes runner-up to. Wes Malott with the big strike. And the volcanic emotions finally come out as he has sealed his first major victory.
I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Wes Malott, the man of the hour.
Congratulations. Thank you, David. You deserved it, man. Thank you.
You know, Malott really teased everyone, wondering if he'd even make this TV final all week long. He came in as the number 4 seed.
Dave.
And has worked his way through the entire stepladder to earn this.
What a way to win your first major. You beat Pete Weber, and then you take out the hottest player on the planet, Jason Belmonte. It's just coming back from the knee surgery and getting into the gym and working and going through physical therapy and trying to get your legs back underneath you. You know, he admitted prior to the start of the telecast today that he's feeling it. His knee hurts.
Dexter, the only one in the game, baby.
Just a great, great performance. And this is what we've come to associate the U.S. Open with, is just great performances. Another one right here by Wes Malott.
Let me get on my stuff anyway.
Wes Malott needing to finish up his 10th. You know, the whole tour and its fans were constantly amazed whenever they heard that Wes had never won a major. And now Wes Malott making it official as the 2013 U.S. Open champion.
Finally. Way to fight, baby. Fight. Thank you, Columbus!
Thank you, Wes Malott. Way to go, Dad.
Babe, I love you at home. Thank you for what you do for me, baby.
So now, just like a great performer, Wes Malott with an encore right here. And what a performance he put on all week long.
Come here, you.
Yes, sir! It's time, Wes Malott. It's time.
Finally, baby. Finally. 10 hard years right there.
Congratulations, Wes Malott. When we come back, we will hear from our newest U.S. Open champion.
Hey, man, you lifted one before. You lifting it again. This one's...
Welcome back to Columbus, where the celebration continues for Wes Malott.
Finally, baby. Finally.
The difficult U.S. Open conditions reared their power all week long. Only the most tenacious would survive today, and that man is Wes Malott. A big 214-156 victory over Jason Belmonte. And right now, he's down with Randy Peterson.
Thanks, Lon. Wes, congratulations. What a gutsy performance. With all the adversity that you've been through in the last couple of months with the knee surgery and the rehab and all that goes with that, put into words what this title, this first major, means to you.
Well, you know, it was unfortunate for Jason to obviously struggle there. I mean, obviously we always want to bowl a great game, but I think this is something that's been a long time coming. I put a lot of hard work into this game, and going through the knee surgery and bouncing back, I really just had something to prove to myself. I knew I could do this, and there's so many people to thank to even just have this here. Limpton for sponsoring the U.S. Open, the BPAA, the PBA, especially Rotogrip for providing me with the best equipment on the market, for them believing in me, and yourself, obviously, for helping out with that. It's just unbelievable.
Was there a point while you were going through rehab where you thought or you wondered if you'd ever get back to this point?
There was a little bit. When it first happened, I struggled through it, and things have worked out really well this year, even fighting through it all. Then going through the knee surgery, missing some tournaments, but I knew it was what I needed to do because it just wasn't ready, and I'm just glad I'm back.
Now, this is your 8th title, but your first major. Does it feel any different?
It does, because I was so close at the Masters this year, and losing to Belmo, and both of us bowled unbelievable games. He deserved it just as well as I did. So to finally get revenge, if you want to say, on him and get the U.S. Open, this is the one that means the most to all of us.
A little payback. Now, how were you able to make a brutal U.S. Open oil pattern look that easy?
Well, I was definitely concerned coming into today. My knee started flaring up last night and today, and I mainly just wanted to keep my feet slow and let everything fall into place, and that's what I did. And the first game I struggled a little bit to get to the live TV show, but live TV, I don't know if I could have bowled any better. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was a great performance. Now, you need to have one more game in you, and you had mentioned revenge. You're going to go up against Liz Johnson, and I seem to remember a tournament a few years back where she actually beat you.
Well, you got to bring old stuff back. I forgot all about that.
That's what I do.
I love Liz, and I don't know that there's really a whole lot of revenge there, but I'm going to give it my all. Hopefully I can keep the knee loose and just at least give her a good match, because she's obviously a great talent in this game, and it's just unbelievable, and she's got the best balls in her hands too, so this should be a good match.
Congratulations again, Wes. Good luck in the next match coming up against Liz Johnson.
Thanks, Randy.
All right, as Randy alluded to, and it made Wes chagrin that he's got to come back, our two freshly minted U.S. Open champions will square off for a $10,000 winner-take-all match, the Battle of the Sexes. This week on Sunday Night Baseball at 8, Carlos Beltran and the Cardinals take on Freddie Freeman and the Braves. Then on Monday Night Baseball, AL West rivals square off at 7. Mike Trout and the Angels taking on Adrian Beltre and the Rangers. Both games are on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN. Another event contested this week in conjunction with bowling's 2013 U.S. Open was the Cupica AMF International Family Tournament. Since 1976, the International Family Tournament has been run by the BPAA and remains the only national scholarship championship in sports that is offered to a family team. The event features two divisions, a parent youth division for kids 12 and under, and a parent teen division for kids 13 to 18. The teams qualified in local competitions held at participating BPAA centers and advanced to regional and state finals before coming to Holiday Lanes in Columbus for the national finals. This year's national finals featured 39 parent youth teams and 38 parent teen teams representing 28 states.
And there you see the parent teen winner, Abby Brown, the teen, and Kimberly Hefner from North Carolina. And the parent youth champions, Faith Kenny and Doug Kenny from Oklahoma. Congratulations to them.
Yeah, it's just a great event that the BPAA and the proprietors put on in conjunction with the men's and women's U.S. Open. Kudos to them for bringing all those great families out to watch some great bowling and to compete themselves.
And now, presented by Brunswick, it's time for the battle of the sexes. Wes Malott, the freshly minted U.S. Open men's champion, taking on Liz Johnson. $10,000, winner take all, just to make sure they are interested. And as you mentioned, Randy, not the first meeting between these two. And Wes was none too happy that you brought that up.
Don't let that hug fool you. They do not like each other. Just kidding. They're great friends off the lanes. And you heard what Wes said, no revenge factor. But you know what? There's still another $10,000 up for grabs. And I guarantee you, Liz, she's not going to show any mercy. There's nothing these women out here don't like more than beating up on the guys.
No kidding.
I mean, Liz has done it. Kelly Kulick did it to win a major title, the only woman ever.
There's Johnson trying to clean up in her opening frame.
Now, big advantage for Liz Johnson. They moved over to 9 and 10. Remember the men's finals match was on 11 and 12, and this pair has been freshly stripped and re-oiled. Let's see if Wes Malott can still hit the pocket at will like he did on 11 and 12.
Each of these pros has already won $50,000 for the championship. 10,000 more. 10 pen.
That was awful.
Well, that's pretty good when you throw it awful and you leave a flat 10
adrenaline down after that.
On a flat 1-to-1 ratio oil pattern at the U.S. Open.
And Wes Malott with the spare in the first. This battle of sexes presented by Brunswick. You see the elder of the two is Johnson by 3 years, 14 titles. Wes now with 8. One major. Wes loves to see that one. More to come. 5-4 Liz Johnson.
Won the title matches on both sides, not even close.
Baby split. And what an amazing feeling it must be as we go back to those championship matches to fight and claw all week long on these conditions over 3 different centers, lane to lane. So very difficult to get here, and then to have a blowout in the championship. I mean, it has to, just what a weird feeling for that.
Yeah, it really is. You know, unlike what we saw last year, as Wes misses the 310. You know, last year we saw, you know, every match come down to the 10th frame, and then here you have 2 blowouts. Not something that I would have thought would have happened. As competitive as the oil pattern is and as great as the players are, that was the last thing I thought would have happened.
10 pin as Liz Johnson trying to capitalize on the open frame from Wes Malott. Liz Johnson looking for the 10-10. And as you alluded to, Liz Johnson loves to put her game up against the men.
When I grew up, bowling was against the guys, and it doesn't matter who it is. I love to compete, and I love to compete against the guys, and it doesn't matter who it is. I'll be ready. There's never any backing down again, no matter who it is. Push.
Yep.
See, I told you she likes beating up on the guys.
No backing down.
And, you know, I just got to say what a great job the BPA did on putting on this event. 3 different centers and all the volunteer help from the proprietors across the country. The proprietor here, Mike Irwin, who is involved in 8 bowling centers in Ohio, is one of the best proprietors that we have, and he was the main reason why I won my senior event in Dayton.
He forced you to come play, didn't he?
He did. But just a tremendous job from all involved on the BPAA side, and
Somebody wants me to strike.
all the hard work and effort in a joint venture with them and
Not like
the
it'll be the
PBA.
first time I ever get beat if I do. By a girl.
Well, right now, Liz Johnson with the only strike in this Battle of the Sexes match against Wes Malott.
You know, I know how much Wes likes money, so I can't believe that he's just gonna, you know, throw the towel in.
No, he's not.
I mean, this guy really likes money.
Well, you know, if they did
try
like
this shot, okay?
they do in poker and just stack the 10 grand on the ball
Might be a
return.
bad
That's a
thing.
great idea. Why
There
didn't you
you
do?
go.
Yeah, but you know what? The biggest difference between this sport and poker, Lon, in bowling, the flop is not good.
No flop. Wes Malott down by 12.
Now he's going to be down.
Oh, wow, what a break.
Hey, Wes, give it a little more room on that lane.
A U.S. Open champion break. Boy, almost handed the match to Liz Johnson right there.
Can we get one close match here for the week?
All right, Wes Malott still looking for his first strike in this Battle of the Sexes. Liz Johnson leading by 14, $10,000 up for grabs between these 2 new U.S. Open champions. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series returns to ESPN as Jimmy Johnson, Carl Edwards, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. lead the field at the historic Brickyard. NASCAR's best will fight to cement their place in the chase. 43 drivers, 12 spots, 1 champion. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Brickyard presented by Golden Corral. Coverage begins Sunday at noon on ESPN, also live on Watch ESPN. Taking a look at our scoreboard in this Battle of the Sexes. It is Liz Johnson up by 14 on Wes Malott right now after 3.5 frames. Steve Johnson is the executive director of the BPAA. Our thanks to him. He says he conceived this. This is his brainchild, the Battle of the Sexes. It has been received with enthusiasm here in Columbus.
I love Steve Johnson. He's just a great guy, and I have a great nickname for him. My nickname for Steve is G5.
G5?
Yeah, and I'm going to leave it right there, just G5.
Talk later. Liz Johnson trying to hang on to her thin advantage on Wes Malott.
I know, I don't like those 10 pins. Oh, you want to? No, I like this pair better.
It's tough to bowl when your pockets are so weighed down.
With money?
Yeah, there's $50,000 in those pockets.
Indeed, for both of them.
Legs start to get a little heavy. Flat 10 appears.
Liz Johnson with her style, Randy, and she's got a very straight up and down back, which makes her bend her lower body, putting extra pressure on those legs, and she looks strong right here into this match.
Yeah, well, that's old school. You know, she throws the ball down and in. That's the straight game, so her upper body's much straighter. She gets down to the foul line using knee bend. Wes Malott gets to the foul line using tilt from his waist.
Push.
And more tilt from his waist these days with that injured knee. Liz Johnson, as she qualified after 12 games with an average of almost 213. You see the averages for PBA members and amateurs. Mostly amateurs in this field.
Well, there's only 10 PBA members on the women's side that actually competed in this event. 3 of them made the show.
That's why they are pros. Wes Malott now down by 12, looking for his first strike. His nickname is not spares a lot. It is strikes a lot.
Well, he did that for 2 games, remember?
Oh, has he used himself up? Seven pin
That's
is
just
wobbling. And the curtain comes down on that.
Let's see, the 7 gets nudged, but it doesn't go down. And if Jason Belmonte's still in the building, he's probably wondering to himself, hey, where was this in the match I bowled against you? Take a look at an interesting similarity between these 2 players and how they target on the lane. I want you to watch Liz Johnson's eyes and notice how they're going directly at the foul line. Just slightly past the foul line is where she targets. Check out Wes Malott's eyes. Exactly the same thing. 2 players going at it. They use the same targeting system. They target extremely close to the foul line.
Good lesson for you bowlers of PBA to be. Did he yell ow?
That one's down.
He did. That one hurt, and Wes is in trouble in this match. Looks like he's afraid to get the ball to go to the right at all.
Ow.
All right. I can relate, and you can too, having knee surgery and just, you know, having that need to go through that repetitive pounding motion so soon after surgery. You have to really hand it to Wes, who gutted it out all week long, earning him a title.
I've had 3 surgeries, and I just recently completed PRP treatment, where they spin your blood and remove the red blood cells and re-inject the platelet-enriched plasma back into the joint. So my knee's actually doing a lot better than Wes's knee.
Wes is not going to give up. Johnson fighting. The strike there in the 6th.
Just gave Wes Malott a little bit of the business, too. He's like, yeah, whatever, quit faking it. Your hurt knee. I'm kicking your butt.
The needle is out. Great ball.
Darn 10 pin.
This is 9.5. Watch. There's the 6-pin going into the sidewall and just barely nudging the 10, but just not enough to get it to topple. And Liz Johnson, a great spare shooter, no problem with the 10-pin.
A perfect place to be for a great spare shooter. The U.S. Open on this pattern. It earned Liz Johnson her 3rd U.S. Open title. Malott working on an open frame in the 6th.
He has yet to strike in this match, and that's all he did the 2 previous matches.
Oh, that one's got a dance. That one's got a dance.
I'll make you mad.
Well, you can really see the lack of flexibility at the foul line for Wes Malott. He's got little or no knee bend. It's almost straight-legged. And when you're 6'5", you got to get down to the foul line. There's only one way to do it if you can't bend your knee, and that's to bend at the waist.
And you keep doing that year after year, you start feeling that in the back. So Wes Malott's going to take care of that knee, get it rehabbed. He said it's just weak. He says the surgery went fine, everything's right. It's just that it needs to be rehabbed, it needs to be strengthened. 2 in a row.
Come on. You know, we're used to seeing big, tall guys with a lot of knee bend because they got to get down to the foul line, and that is almost dead straight.
So Malott actually with a word of encouragement to Liz Johnson as they traded spots. Johnson working on a spare, and there's a strike in the 8th to keep the pressure on.
Well, it's a 17-pin match right now, and Liz Johnson can increase the lead to 27 with a strike in the 9th. The best Wes Malott can shoot is 210. Liz Johnson can strike out for 227. If she doesn't strike here, Wes Malott could actually strike out and lock this up.
So Liz Johnson knows right now she's the rabbit, and she needs to put herself a little further ahead. Key moment.
Oh, she pulled it. Remember she did that in the Kelly Kulick match, and she crossed over far enough to trip the 6 out when she was working on a string of strikes, which proved to be huge.
She just felt the gravity of that moment.
Well, she knew, you know, when you're going that straight on this pattern, you know that you can't miss to the right. The miss has to be the inside part of the target.
Johnson clean it up.
3.
Got it. That was an important frame for her. And now this battle of the sexes comes down to Wes Malott down by 17 in the 9th.
He strikes out. He needs 1 here in the 9th, 2 in the 10th, and 8. And he can shut out Liz Johnson. He's got to strike here.
First things first. Is it going to come back? Oh, it does. And now for a mix-it.
Boy, he caught a handful of that one at the bottom. That was nasty. Wes Malott just cuts the lead of Liz Johnson's to 7. Watch this. I mean, you want to talk about snapping on it. Look at that. Follow through goes left of his head.
Oh, boy.
And I mean, he just caught all of that one.
All right, the preliminary work is done. Now the heavy lifting. 10th frame. Johnson's still the bull, but he can shut her out. That's too high.
Wes Malott suffering from DD on that shot. A little directional dysfunction. Never gets it far enough to the right.
He knew it from the release.
A strike will give him 188. It'll force Liz Johnson to mark.
And finally a match that has come down to the 10th frame. We've been waiting for this all day, Randy. Wes Malott has put himself in harm's way. Finishes strong. 2013 Men's U.S. Open champion, Wes Malott.
Hard to be disappointed, even though you're about ready to lose to Liz Johnson for the 2nd time in your career, but at least he gets to leave with the hardware at his first major title.
There you see it. Just a mark for Liz Johnson to defeat Wes Malott. She's thinking, let's do it now. Can she do it now?
Oh, wow. What a great shot. Just a sick, vicious ring in 10. Remember I said Liz Johnson's a great spare shooter. This should be absolutely no problem for her.
We also heard her say, I hate that 10-pin.
Last time we saw a 10-pin missed at a U.S. Open, Mika missed one to give Norm Duke a U.S. Open title.
No miss here. Liz Johnson closes it out, defeating Wes Malott.
I'm staying behind it.
Stay behind it, okay?
Wes Malott, as helpful as ever, telling Liz to stay behind the foul line.
A very gracious loser to be in Wes Malott. 2013 Women's U.S. Open champion Liz Johnson has won the battle of the sexes. And the $10,000 that comes with it. Back to Columbus in just a moment. Nice performance once again by Liz Johnson defeating Wes Malott.
Thank you, Vice Grips. I love you guys. Thank you.
Come on back to the U.S. Open.
Unbelievable week. Thank you, guys.
Bowling's U.S. Open is brought to you by Lipton Iced Tea. Feel the taste of summer. By GoBowling.com. Visit GoBowling.com today. By Roto-Grip, defying them all with performance and value made simple. And by Jana King, the king of clean. A very appreciative crowd here and in Columbus. Watch a tremendous day of bowling. 2 new U.S. Open champions crowned. In the women's division, Liz Johnson claimed her 3rd U.S. Open title with a great performance against Kelly Kulick. Randy
got off to a great start, starting with the front 6 in a row, and that was a huge break on that string, and it just proved to be too much. She ends up shooting 257, striking out in the 10th frame, and it was never, ever close. Kelly got off to that shaky start of the pocket, 7-10, never recovered.
And then it was Wes Malott who broke through with his first PBA major and the biggest of them all, defeating Jason Belmonte.
Well, it was just a lot of open frames and big ugly splits for Jason Belmonte early. And, you know, Wes Malott just looked totally unbeatable. He started with 279 against Weber, and it just never let up. Belmonte was never able to get on track, and that man right there wins his first ever major.
Upcoming telecast, the next is a women's event, another major. Diandra Asbaty looks to defend her title in Las Vegas, the USBC Queens. And then it's the PBA 2012-13 season coming to an end with a World Series of Bowling from Las Vegas. And that should be a lot of fun. Watch the telecast beginning on December 1st. So, for Randy Peterson and our entire ESPN crew in Columbus, I'm Lon McCarron. Malott and Johnson, U.S. Open champions for 2013. It was a grueling week. They proved to be the best. We're glad you could join us from here in Columbus. NASCAR is coming your way next.